Oh, Dak is back, we think. The 1-4 Lions head into Dallas for Dak's return. Lions were a high-scoring team until they went into Foxborough, got shut out by America's team. Super Bowl champion James Jones is here with us. Welcome, James. Welcome back. The fantastic suit. Love it. We're going to start with Nick. Is there any chance Dak loses his kind of new debut post-thumb injury?
Oh, I think there's a really dangerous spot for the Cowboys.
Wait.
Okay, so I think that there are a lot of reasons that the Lions are not the team I would want to face if I were Dallas and Dak's first game back. First one is the obvious one, they're coming off a bye. So they have, we talked about in Bills Chiefs how much the short week matters. Well, the Lions get a full week, and coming off a bye, coming off of their one truly awful game of the year. And I think that's a team that, I don't think they're a terrible team. I don't think they're a great team, but they are a team that played Philadelphia and lost by 3. They're a team that had a 10-point lead on Minnesota with 8 minutes left in that game. Minnesota's 5-1 this year. They're also a team that has given up the fewest sacks in the NFL. Jared Goff's been sacked 7 times. Now, some of that's because they're getting the ball out quick, but another part of that is they've invested in the offensive line. It's what Dan Campbell's talking about right when he got there. So I don't know if Dallas's front defensively is going to be able to wreck the game the way they have wrecked games in the past. Right. So for all those reasons, the fact that offense, if it's healthy coming off the bye, because one of the reasons your guys' Patriots crushed them was because they were dealing with a ton of injuries on offense. I think it feels like a all risk, no reward game for the Cowboys. Like if you beat the Lions, no one's going to be like, oh, Dak, there we go, buddy, Super Bowl bound. But I do think in people's minds, the Lions are worse than they actually are. I think matchup-wise, if they can neutralize to a degree Lawrence and Parsons, if any team can, they're built to it. I think it's a really, really dangerous spot for Dallas.
Well, when I look at the Detroit Lions, all I see is this. When I look at the Detroit Lions, that's all I see. They're going back to the same Detroit Lions, right? You're giving up leads. You get blown out by the New England Patriots, right? All I see is this. Dak can't lose, and neither can Cooper Rush. And the reason why I say that is because I'm starting Cooper Rush this game.
What?
Right? This is this is the reason why. This is Dak's football team. We know that. But the reason why I'm starting Cooper Rush is because we can beat the Detroit Lions with Cooper Rush, even if Cooper Rush plays bad, right? This defense can will you to a win against Cooper Rush. The next week, you have the Chicago Bears. We can beat the Chicago Bears with Cooper Rush. Then we have a bye. So what you have just done is you have just let your superstar quarterback get ready for the long run and be ready to go make a Super Bowl push. I will leave Cooper Rush in for these next 2 games.
Wow.
I would sit back and let that thumb really, really rest, and you can get back out here and be 110% ready to go for this playoff run. And after the bye, we have a game that's really special to our Coach Mike McCarthy, and that is you go to Lambeau Field and play the Green Bay Packers.
You want that to be Dak's first game?
Right. What if Green Bay's gotten it together by then?
I hope so. That possibly could be true. But going into the game, it's no worries about the thumb. Right now, when you hear Jerry Jones and you hear those guys talk out of there, you like, Dak's still going through this. He's still talking to the doctor. Like, there is no talking to the doctor. After the bye week, Dak is ready to go 100%. And these next 2 games against the Lions and the Bears, Cooper Rush and our really good defense and this football team could get the job done.
Okay, they would be 6-1 in your scenario, 6-1 with Cooper Rush. Dak Prescott comes back in his first game, he loses to the Packers. I just think that ratchets up the controversy.
But it's the big picture. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to win Super Bowls, right?
I hear what you're saying. Getting completely 100%.
Your guy Russ
help.
came back early and lost those 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, Russ hasn't been the same since.
This
right?
is hold on. But this is on the timeline that they initially said, the 4 to 6 weeks.
Right.
So on the 6-week side of it, they said they want to get him a full week of practice. We saw him on the practice field last week doing a little bit. Now he's going to get the full week. I think, I'm not saying James' advice is bad advice. What I am saying is they're not going to take it. Like, Dak is going to start this Sunday against the Lions. And I think that, I don't think we have seen enough from the Cowboys offense. I understand Cooper Rush was the quarterback, to where you can just trust them blindly against any competent team. Now, if the argument is the Lions are not a competent team, I understand that. But they're 4-1 because the defensive front has been able to dominate its opponents. Right.
The Lions have not won a road game under Dan Campbell. 0-11. The Lions have the worst defense in all of football. And Dak Prescott is 35-8. We know one thing about Dak. He plays well against losing teams. So I don't think you could pick a better team. And I agree with you. I don't think Detroit's as bad as their record as people think. Yeah. But I don't know what happened to him in New England, really. But I don't know that you could pick a better team for Dak to play because of those reasons I just gave. He gets to come out and beat Detroit. You would think put up some good numbers so the fan base has forgotten about Cooper Rush. We're like, okay, Dak's back. We scored 31 against Detroit in a win. Then they beat Chicago. Then they get the bye, and they're rolling. So I think this is the perfect time.
I just remember when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and I'm not saying Dak Prescott is Aaron Rodgers, but when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, we had Matt Flynn, we had Scott Tolzien, we had Seneca Wallace, right? And we were like, in our minds, we got a really good receiver core. We got a really good offense. It's like, man, if we could just win a couple games, keep this afloat so Aaron could rest a little bit longer, we are going to be in a good situation. We kept getting blasted, all right? We kept getting blasted. So Aaron is in the training room time after time after time, multiple hours later and all that, trying to get himself back out there, right? And he came back a little too soon. Did he play halfway decent? Did he play well? Yes. But if we could have bought him a little bit more time to get a little bit more rest to come out and be 100% healthy, that's what we would have did, right? This is the same situation. But the good thing is Cooper Rush is winning you games, and he has two winnable teams in front of him to rest Dak.
If he's still hurt, I hear you.
Hold on. But Cooper Rush is not winning you games. Cooper Rush was the quarterback for a team that
But the defense still going to be there. I agree with that.
They could win these next two.
Listen, maybe that would have been their plan, Wilds, if we hadn't seen these last two games from Cooper Rush, where the game 2 weeks ago where he throws for 100 yards against the Rams and they win purely because of the defense. And then this game against the Eagles, where if they got, it's not, listen, the Eagles
could carry
they almost, they didn't almost beat them, but we know how close it was at the start of the fourth quarter.
And the reason that they never had a real shot to win that game was because of terrible quarterback play. So I think maybe if they were going to do what James was thinking, I think Cooper's last two games just made it untenable.
But if this was the Eagles, I'm sending Dak out there. If this was the Rams again, I'm sending Dak out there. This is the Lions and the Chicago Bears to where your defense could take this game.
In your scenario about Aaron Rodgers, though, it sounds like he knew he wasn't ready, right? But he had to come back because y'all kept losing. Dak seems to think he's ready. Like, Dak is clamoring to get back on the field, so that's a difference.
I played a lot of games hurt and knew I was ready, right? Because, I mean, just man-to-man coach, I don't care what you're talking about. I'm going out there, right? Sometimes you have to save the player from himself.
Can I push back on the idea that the defense is going to carry this team? I would be worried, not about the Cooper Rush Dak controversy. I'm worried that other coaches around the league saw what the Eagles did to Micah Parsons to neutralize him and say, this guy's been out here looking like Lawrence Taylor. Why don't we kind of just play him a little bit differently if we can show the graphic?
But you got to have the guy to do that. Jared Goff is not the guy to be running no read options, and Micah Parsons worried about him running.
7 tackles, season high. Hey, if you're playing back, great. We're going to throw the ball. You're up. No, 2 pressures.
That is the effect of Jalen Hurts. Jared Goff ain't running nowhere. You run this, I'm not worried about you. That's why when Cooper Rush do that, they're not worried. They chasing down the play because they are not worried about him running the football.
Of course,
so it's no fear of him running.
No, hold on. Of course that Jalen Hurts adds an extra element to that. But I think the point is well taken, which is because Micah lines up in all different places defensively, you can have hots at the line and say if he is in a pass rushing position, we are audibling to a run unless it's 3rd and long and running right at him. And I mean, I think that's not you don't think that's.
Have you watched Micah Parsons?
Listen, he's a great player. He's a great player.
The quarterbacks that are not mobile and able to utilize him and utilize their legs, he is wrecking the game in the run game and the pass game. That is why he's up for Defensive Player of the Year. But when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts that could come up in there, what is he going to do, right? Because he can run.
That is true. But what is also true is Micah wrecked a game against Cincinnati, which has a very bad offensive line that was in flux at the beginning of the year. Wrecked a game against the Rams, which has right now, because of injuries, one of the worst offensive lines in football,
Quarterbacks who
and
really
then
don't
played
get out of the pocket
correct.
either.
But also, the other part of it is the quality of the offensive lines, because it was not just Jalen Hurts running read options. It was also Lane Johnson when he was in there being effective against Micah Parsons. You're now playing a Lions team that has invested a ton of money and right now has been one of the most successful offensive lines in football. I'm not saying Micah Parsons is going to be neutralized.
Y'all play
but
with
I'm
Micah if you
saying-
want to.
Okay, well, I mean, the Lions played the Eagles, who have a dominant defense, and the Lions scored 35 points on them. So the idea
This
that
sounds like you're upset alert.
I know, it's a little preview there.
I don't do upset
He ain't
alerts.
going that
That's
far.
your guys' category.
It feels good, though. A little
But I
warm-up.
mean, Detroit plus
Don't
7
take
feels
the
good.
cheese.
Ooh.
So you got Cowboys losing it?
I said it. I wouldn't be
okay.
shocked. I'm not. It's Tuesday.
No
We
way.
don't even save it.
No way.
Is it time for the Packers to hit the panic button?
Oh, wow.
James,
No.
you want the answer?
Yeah.